Hi guys, welcome to Sophquest Synergy. I'm Spence, and I know it's been a very long time since you've seen me put videos up on the channel, but I'm really glad to be back. I started with a VR to Kelly Bear, and I hope you will go and watch that video showing you some of my decks that I just can't live without, that I love. So if you love looking at tarot card art, it is certainly a video you might like to see. It was made for the tarot tubers who like to share that. But I wanted to come back and start the channel again with some fun, some summer fun, and then of course I'll be doing your Sophscopes again in October. So for each of the astrological signs, you will receive your Sophscope based on the Tree of Life spread that I used to do, still do, will always do. This particular video, I'm actually going to begin my own tarot tag series, and the reason is because when I did the last one, I realized that the way that I've collected cards is seasonally. I end up using certain decks in the spring, summer, autumn, winter, and I thought that might be a little bit of an easier way for people to look at their collections and see where their trends are as far as, you know, seasonal trends. I certainly do have mine. I know that in the summertime I like to think of things that remind me of summer, obviously, that make me think of lightheartedness, carefree, playing outside, right? Summer vacation, things like that. Lots of color and some sunny things to it. And then one of the decks that I chose actually is more like summer nights kind of deck. So let's get started. The first two decks that I'm going to mention are larger decks. They really are rather big. Now I have big hands, so I will say that if you have teeny tiny hands, these next two decks might be a little large for you, and you would certainly have to do this kind of overhand shuffling. Let's see what we got. We got the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, seasons changing, there we go. So you might have to do it this way, overhand. But if you do have large hands and you can fit your entire hand around it, like I can, because I have large hands, the deck is very easy to shuffle, okay? So the first deck I'm going to mention is the Art of Love Tarot. Summer romance, right? The Art of Love Tarot is a collection of art by Carmine Salerno. It's a lovely deck. Tony and his wife are from Australia. Denise Jarvie, I believe, also wrote for the book inside of this. And Carmine Salerno's art is so beautiful. One of the things that drew me to his artwork, it's actually one of the same reasons that one of my favorite artists of all time is Gustav Klimt. Carmine Salerno has this in common with Klimt: spirals. Lots of spirals. And I am a fractal artist who is enamored with spirals. Many of my fractals are spirals. So it's just something I adore. What can I say? I was one of those kids that played with the kaleidoscope as a kid, or the spirograph. Remember those? Very much so about geometry and creativity. Very much, even as a child. This is a lovely deck, and each of the suits has a different colored border. They are pretty glossy. They are very durable. You can wipe them right off. And I just always feel a kind of high vibe love coming from this deck. It was probably because it was created with such high vibrational love. And not just that, but I think it was created with a devotion to people living their lives out loud for love, right? To live and let live, love and let love. I totally get that from Carmine Salerno and his group there in Australia. So let me show you some of these beautiful cards. They are just stunning, and I will hold them to the best of my ability so that you can see them here. I really do love them. Each of the cards has a keyword at the bottom. This one says limitation, the 5 of trees, which would be earth or pentacles or discs in some decks. There are always the 4 suits, of course, in decks. Actually, there's a deck I believe that has a 5th suit, but we won't go into that right now. So the deck, the suit of Earth, the 5 of Earth is usually about loss or limitation, correct? Or feeling out in the cold, or feeling a sense of lack. But you can see they're just branches on the tree of life. Seasons come, seasons go, right? Good depiction, I love. So let me just show you some of these beautiful cards. There's hearts, angels, trees. You can see they're just so rich and colorful. And this is the Judgment card, the Awakening card. I love that. I love the use of teals and purples, azure blue, and shades of pinks and burgundies. You know, there's a lot of beautiful color differentiation. So we have stars, we have angels, we have hearts, and we have trees. Those are the suits, but very easily discernible with the colors that were chosen. And the reason that I absolutely just fell in love with this deck, besides all the spirals and all the pattern work within all the trees, is that he often shows love or lovers with trees. And he shows the family love, the family dynamic, usually in, around, or within trees. And that really drew me in. One of the other things also too is each one of the faces in the deck has these kinds of lines, or what we might call scars or mars on the face. And I know that the heart that was put into these paintings, painting people with complexity, layers, and yes, flaws, that I can see that in these cards, and it makes me look at humanity the way that I like to look at humanity. I like to see not just the external, but the layers, the beauty and the scars. And is that or is that not a gorgeous Emperor card? Really is, right? It takes it to another level. I love that card. So this is such a beautiful deck. These are the backs. Heart on them. The Art of Love Tarot. This is absolutely one of my favorite summer decks. See what I mean with the King of Trees? And I think it's meant to represent our family trees, that, you know, that we are all legacies of those that came before us. You are a living legacy to your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. And you're only as wealthy as you are healthy, and you are only able to be healthy if you are taking care of your vessel, or in this deck, your trees, right? It's a way of looking at people in their most natural state. A state of grace. A state of earthiness. I love the script behind this. I absolutely love that so much. So the spirals, the writing, the color patchwork. The Lover's card, the Gemini card, my card. And even the Nine of Angels, which would be the 9 of Swords in most decks, which is, you know, the girl laying in the bed with the 9 swords, right? But in this, you've thought about it so much it hurts at this point. And if you just take a deep breath and close your eyes, you can imagine that you are being encapsulated by the wings of an angel, there to comfort you and help you through the dark times. The 3 of Angels. Clarification. Now you know how you feel about that, love. You know? She's holding lilies, and that always represents purity to me. and her nakedness, her vulnerability, and the tangled web and the dark, rooted earth. Love is complicated. Sometimes it's messy. And that's the Three of Swords, right? Or the Three of Angels. So I just love this deck. I think that there's a lot to this deck. And even this deck, card, which is the Devil card in most decks, is, you know, shadow. The shadow. We all have our light. We all have our shadow. And in this deck, it's called fear. And that's exactly how I see it. I don't personify the devil. I see the devil as fear. I see the devil as self-deception and limitation, anger and hatred. It's when we let all of those negative emotions rule us. That's why the devil card in the RWS is shown being enchained, right? You're enchained. And that's really what that's about, isn't it, that card? So, then the Fool, the beginning, the initiation, the beginning of the hero's journey, or in the Tarot, the Fool's journey, coming out of the lotus, coming out into the sun and into the moon. I love that so much. It's a beautiful deck, and it feels so good in the summer. It just does, with the rich, yummy, deep colors. It's beautiful. A lot of people wear a lot of color in the summer as well, so I have a tendency just to use colorful decks. I just noticed that. Now, secondly, I want to speak about another favorite summer deck of mine is the Good Tarot by Collette Baron-Reid. She's done many oracles that I don't have yet, but that are on my list for certain. I love seeing all of the decks by Collette Baron-Reid on other people's channels. I try not to covet. I wait patiently until I can slowly but surely collect the decks that I think have a place in my collection, because I'm really actually very, very discerning about it, about the decks that I choose, and for a reason. This is the Good Tarot. These are the backs. Nice pretty green color. The Good Tarot has an element of wistfulness that I really like, and whimsy. They're whimsical, and Collette Baron-Reid does that. She uses a lot of whimsical and even surrealism in her artwork, so I love that. And I love so much that the Ten of Cups, or the Ten of Water, she uses the elements in this. And by the way, if I were to create a tarot deck, I would do that. I would use air, fire, water, and earth. That's my favorite way of thinking of it, because we all have elemental attributes in our astrology, and I'm very much an astrology buff. So the Buddha, the happy smiling Buddha, just makes me happy to see it. I absolutely love that card. And so these cards have a sense of whimsy, and I think that reminds me of my childhood. It reminds me of fantasy. I had a very fantastical imagination as a child. I would come up with these creative games and get the entire neighborhood kids involved. I had all these ideas. We had a Native American powwow when I was younger, and we all sat in a circle and we put up tents, and it was so much fun. So anyway, let me show you the deck. The Three of Air. It really, I love this World card. And one of the parts that I love about it is that keyhole. You hold the key to your entire world. You are a conscious co-creator in your reality, the way you perceive the world. Yeah, you can walk out your door and see a beautiful world, or you can walk out your door and see that it is just a horrible, miserable place. And I like to see the good, and I like to imagine the good in people. How great is this for the Ten of Wands or the Ten of Fire? You're juggling a lot of paperwork. It's like busy work, right? You're just, oh, you're so inundated, right? That's what the Ten of Wands feels like. So I love this as a summer deck. It's somewhat whimsical. It reminds me of childhood. And I like the characters They are more archetypal characters than people. I just think they're lovely. And in summer, I also, as well, summer readings I find have a tendency to be a little bit more lighthearted. And so this particular tarot does not have any depictions of anything dark. Yet the depth of the meaning of each card is there. It is there. So, and it comes with a really good booklet that I really like as well. So it's one of my favorite summer decks, and I just really enjoy using it during the summertime. I really, really do. And I'm happy to have it. And I'm certainly going to be getting at least one of her oracles as well, because I also love oracle decks. I truly do. The next of my favorite summertime decks is the FENESTRA Tarot. The FENESTRA, look at the backs. And by the way, this cardstock, oh, it's buttery. It's so, it's just like rose petal. It's beautiful. It really is nice. It's such a pleasure to shuffle, and I love it. I truly, truly love it. And so the FENESTRA Tarot by Chatriya. Chatriya. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but I hope so. Chatriya. It's a beautiful deck. Absolutely gorgeous. I think that part of one of the reasons I love this deck, first of all, I love all the eyes, the characters, their eyes. I just think that they're beautiful. Secondly, there's the warm tones, the summery yellows, the butter yellow color of the deck draws me during the summertime. And it's a very easy reader. It's RWS based. It's an RWS clone. I love the borders. It feels very Art Nouveau, which I very much like. This is one of my favorite star cards of all time. I love it. This is exactly what the star card, to me, should look like. I just adore it. I think that partly it's the water, the deep blue water. It's twilight. The sun's just going down. I just love it. She's got her foot in the source, right? Standing in the source of life and pouring it onto the earth in her vulnerability and trust and faith in life. I just love it. Who doesn't love the star card? I don't know. It's gorgeous. So these cards are just lovely. And if you see what I mean about the people, the eyes, there's something about the line work on these eyes that I really, really do like. And it makes me happy to use this deck. Everyone I've ever used this deck with loves this deck as well. So the FENESTRA Tarot, this always reminds me of my husband. Always. Yeah, my husband kind of looks like that. So he has a lot of earth in him, so I always see that as him. But they're beautiful cards. I'm crazy about this back. I really am. The majors are stunningly beautiful. I love all the courts are just gorgeous. You know, look at that world card, right? The death card, right? The passed on generations, legacy and change. This says to me, legacy and change. And that's what the death card actually means. For any of you that don't know, that are new to tarot, it doesn't necessarily mean a literal death. I suppose it can if you're a very experienced reader and you're very psychic, and you might see it, you might see that. But I don't think you would say it even if you did as a reader. You wouldn't, I don't believe. Very often, though, we can see the death card as maybe someone that has already passed, but not 99% of the time, the death card actually just means finality. The finality of something. Could be anything, literally. Could be that you're graduating high school and you have to say goodbye to it. Because change is hard for people. It really is. The Queen of Swords, which is the card, I always look for the Queen of Swords in every deck. Most definitely. Because I see that. Love the Judgment card. I do think that the majors are absolutely gorgeous. You know? So I love this deck. I think it's really beautiful. Again, and even the Devil card's not too scary. So it's a good summer, lighthearted deck, which of course the Devil just means you're attached. You are overly attached to something or someone, and it has become a negative in your life instead of a positive. That's what the Devil card really means, okay? Again, they're symbolic, you guys. They are. Look at that Empress. Look at that Empress. So another deck that I absolutely love during the summer, the FENESTRA by Chatriya. Alrighty. Number 4 is the deck I was saying is the deck that I feel that feels to me more like summer evenings or summer nights. Because when I was a kid growing up, if you got to stay outside and play later than normal. Like on a school night, you had to come in early, right, before dinner. But in the summertime, even the adults would hang outside, sit on lawn chairs or whatever, and you would get to experience the night as a child and yet play. And there's something very fantastical about that, and romantic in the larger sense of romance, romantic. So I don't mean necessarily smoochy love romantic, but I do mean seeing the world through the eyes of wonder, that kind of thing. And this deck does that for me. I went over and over and over this deck. Is this one of the decks I don't want to that I can't live without? Yeah. If I could have had 10, this would be in there. And this, of course, I didn't bring the box out. I'm so sorry. Hold on, I'm going to hold it up because you guys already know what it is, I think, if you've seen it yet. There it is. That's right in front of me, guys. I did pull it out. It is the Shadowscapes Tarot, so I just wanted to make sure I got the box. Stephanie Pui-Mun, Shadowscapes. And isn't that the perfect title? Because that's the way it makes me feel. When I was a kid, playing outside, in the summer, the Shadowscapes. It is one of the most beautiful decks I've ever seen. Artfully. It is, and this is one of my favorite cards, that's why I put it on top. Queen of Cups. I love that with the turtles, the wisdom of the water, of emotions, but also the wisdom of time. Tortoises are timekeepers in my book, Like they've lived, it's like they're almost like dinosaur old. They've been around a long time. They hold the Earth's legacy to me. So much of this deck it's deep. It's deep water, it's deep wood. It is. And it's wispy and, again, whimsical, fantastical, rich. The colors are saturated and sumptuous. The cardstock is so gorgeous. I love it. And each card tells a story. You could do a 3-card reading that could take an hour. There is so much to look at in each and every card. It's just a wondrous deck. Now, I will say this, and everybody that is a card reader that loves this deck says this, but I'm going to say it because the more that, these, the people that make the decks, can't think of the word, but, you need, please make it bigger, okay? I think that's a Llewellyn, maybe, probably. I think that's where I got it. but we want the larger deck. I know that there's a Czechoslovakian deck that is much larger. So if you have that deck and you're interested in letting it go for whatever reason, please contact me because I would very much love to get the Czech version of these cards, because I've literally bought, you're gonna think I'm crazy. I have a necklace. It's just like a basic silver necklace with a magnifying glass. It's just a circle magnifying glass, and I use it to look at my cards if I'm using a deck like this. So there you go. That's how much I love it. I really do. It's an absolutely stunning deck in every way, and you can't go wrong with this. And for me, it's summer fantasy. It really is. Beautiful backs. Purple is my signature color. It just is. Lupus. I also love teal. I wear a lot of teal. It's my favorite color. My signature color, though, is purple, but my favorite color to wear is teal. Anyway, that's 4, and my 5th favorite summer deck, which I absolutely adore, and comes packaged so beautifully that it feels like a treasure when you buy it. The Enchanted Tarot. It is so beautiful. I have the 25th edition, 25th anniversary edition, by Zerner and Farber, Amy Zerber, and Monty Farber. This is one of the most beautiful packaging ever. It does have a fabulous book that is really good. I like it very much, and as colored pictures, it's a really beautiful set. And to come like this, it's just so gorgeous. And my husband gave it to me. Wasn't for our 25th anniversary. It was actually a couple of years after that, but I consider it for our 25th wedding anniversary. I have now been married for 30 years, if you can believe that. Okay, so this I suppose would be considered a collage deck, but I have to admit that most collage decks feel too haphazard and busy for me to read with. I love looking at it, and I love collage. I really do. But to read the tarot, I need the picture to speak to me in that way, I suppose. This deck does it. Now, a running theme for me, right? I like colored borders because it looks beautiful when you do a spread. They're gorgeous. They are very tall and slender, and these are the backs. And I usually, the way that I use this deck, I usually only pull one card per week. When I did my Wheel of the Year spread for the entire year of 2019, I used this deck. And I pulled a card for each month as well. So they're special to me. They're very special to me, and I don't want to use them too much, but the cardstock is nice. I really love the backs, and the cards are so sumptuous. They're beautiful. They really are. So I don't know if you have this deck. This particular deck is again the 25th anniversary version, but I do know that obviously the original of this deck it does not have these borders the way that they are. I think they might have had white borders, and they were smaller, not as long, I believe. But these cards are stunning, and I love them. And I tend to use them more for readings in the summer. I usually use these for a 3-card or a 6-card spread. So like for me, I'll pull like a daily spread for me with 3 or 6 cards, you know. So I use them mostly for myself, but I don't see any reason why I wouldn't use them for someone else. If they requested them, I would most certainly use them. for anyone else that would want to see them. But you can see how beautiful this deck is. It's just stunningly beautiful, really well done, totally professionally packaged and kept in a lovely keepsake box. So this is a treasure of mine. It really is. It's a treasure, and I just love it. So my favorite, my 5 fave summer tarot decks: the Enchanted Tarot, Zerner and Farber, hair got in the way, the Shadowscapes Tarot by Stephanie Pui-Mun Law. Shadowscapes, yes please, love. The FENESTRA Tarot by Chatriya, the lovely gorgeous rose backs, buttery yellow and smooth, and when I first got this deck, all I wanted to do was shuffle it. It's just, it feels so good. It smells good too. It just feels so good. It's a pleasure. It's a sensual pleasure. It really is. The Good Tarot by Collette Baron-Reid. Whimsy. It's inspiring as well. Very. And the Art of Love Tarot. Deeper, more meaningful, and gives incredible love readings. It really, really does. It so does. And I adore it. I really adore it. And I usually really get a lot too from the books that come from I'm sorry, I spaced on his name, and I don't believe I did that because I love Tony Carmine Salerno's work. Tony Carmine Salerno, I really like what he puts out. I think that he's done really good work. I really do. So, the Art of Love Tarot as well. Those are my 5 favorite summer decks. So, tag, you're it. And I hope all my tarot tubers out there, I know you guys don't know my face so well. I've been away for 4 years, but you've certainly seen me texting and writing, commenting, writing a lot of comments on many of your videos or your live sessions. So I've been around and hanging out with all of you. But I thought I'd put my face back on camera and show you my stuff, how I like to roll. And those are my 5 fave summer decks. And since summer's coming to a close, I thought, you know what, let's start this now. And then I'll just work my way back around to the spring. So 3 more 5 favorite season decks to come. Next we'll do autumn, then winter, then spring. But right now, tag your it if you have 5 favorite summertime decks that you really gravitate toward in the summertime. Then please hashtag and link it so that I can see all of your VRs. Okay? I really appreciate it. I have so much fun doing these VRs with you guys, and I really hope you guys all have a beautiful day. Thanks so much.